Hello everyone, it's Graham from Lakeside, and another update for you as regards the dismantling of Lakeside. So as you can see, I've got on really well today. This is Tuesday today, so all this side section is down now. I've got to make ready the wall where the back seam was, but that's just literally rubbing down and repainting. But I've got to repaint this wall anyway when I've finished. And instead of doing it white, I should do it like a sky blue, which I think will blend in better with any back seams I have up there. As a little bit of interest to those of you who haven't seen my layout right from the very beginning, what this was going to do was, I'll see if I can dig some pictures out if I can. I might have some very old pictures of when I first started doing it somewhere. But what it was that it was a Falston idea, which once again didn't come to fruition. What I was going to do was I was going to bolt the layout to the side of this section here, which I've mounted on pretty sturdy brackets underneath there, as you can see, and I've got hinges. Now, my theory was that because my wife wanted the room as it was, with a bed just there and TV, etc., she said, yeah, I can have a layout as long as I can still use the room. I said, okay, fine. So I thought, okay, what I'll do, I will build the baseboards, bolt them to these hinges here, and have it so that it raises up like that, so that I can raise it up to the roof and people can still use the bed, etc., as an overnight stop. So I built the layout, I built the baseboards, brought them up here, bolted them all together, bolted them to these hinges, and then tried to lift it. It was a little bit heavy, so I thought, oh, okay, that's not an issue. I'll put a block and tackle on it and raise it from the ceiling down. And then I thought, really, if I put a block and tackle or two really up on that ceiling, Doors is going to go absolutely ape. So I thought, okay, I think a bit of negotiation is due here. So anyway, cut long story short, I eventually got the permission to use this as a proper train room, and so it ended up being bolted to that with legs coming out and the rest you know. But bearing in mind, when it first was built, it wasn't up to the wall, it was to there. So I did have access along this back wall here originally, and it only went as far as that wall there. Well, as you know, I extended it right to the wall, and from there further out. So actually it became quite a bit bigger than what I anticipated. Also interestingly, when I got this back part down, the tunnel which was there, I dug out, and here it is. And if you remember, I had lights on it, and then for some reason the light stopped working. Well, when I came to dig it all out, I'd found that these wires were not connected. So for some reason I had gone underneath this section somewhere to do point work or whatever, and obviously I had to disconnect this and forgot to connect it back up again, and so they were literally lying up against the wall there, hence the reason why the tunnel never lit again. But it's all come out in one piece, and I should use that again because I like that tunnel, especially with the lights on. I know tunnels aren't lit, I've had this conversation so many times, but I like the tunnel with its lights on. It shows up when I'm putting a camera through on the track, it shows up really nicely. Not prototypical, don't care, it just looks nice for the camera. So that will be going back in on the new layout, and as you can see, that's all come out in one piece. It came out in one piece, but I did cut it, and I cut it by the tunnel portal, which was just here, and I've saved those wherever they are. Oh, I've stored those for the moment underneath there, so I've got both sections of the tunnel. So it all came out perfectly fine, and I built this, oh there's on the other side there, so it's all came out with its trees and shrubbery, etc. So all I need to do is when this I use this again, if I use it again, I just need to put some foliage underneath this joint here. Job's a good one. So I'm going to save myself an awful lot of time, I think, doing this, and of course it will be recognisable as Lakeside, which is really important to me, to keep the feel of Lakeside. I took there was some sheep up the top here, so I took those off just in case they fell off, but I've stored those away safely. What else have I got to show you? Well, that's it really. It's all down, so all I've got to do is move all my stock over to here tomorrow. I won't do it now. Move it over to here, and then from that side I can dismantle this last remaining piece of framework, which is primarily the fill yard which I built, and none of these boards are bolted down, so I'll just lift those straight off once I take the truck up, and of course that's going to give me a mammoth amount of track to reuse again. So it's all looking good. I'm really pleased with the way this is coming. So there's not a huge amount of work left to do now. I will probably store the village over on the side there for now, rather than taking it down to the garage, because I think taking it down the stairs into the garage is probably going to cause more damage than if I try to take it down there. So all in all, I'm really pleased. My next big job is taking this shelf off, because it's got those huge brackets underneath, and I've glued this top section here to this, and then that is bolted to the framework underneath, so it's not going to be a 5-minute job by any means. And I think what I'll do is that before I go in tonight, I will attempt to take that off, and then that will just leave me then tomorrow to come up here and move that and take this framework down. And I think that's going to be a day's job, just by moving the stock, if nothing else. So there we go. I won't put this up today, this video. I will tackle the another video on the end of this, showing hopefully all that lot down, and that will then give you an idea of the room I've got. And I will also explain tomorrow a little bit more about the future layout too. Okay, so bye for now, and I'll see you tomorrow. So bye. Hello again everyone, it's Brian from Lakeside, and I think this is day 6 now really of the taking down of the layout. And as I said last night before I went in, I would like to try and get that shelf down, which I've done before I came in last night. And so this morning I've taken all the stock which was here, and put it over there, put it down there, just anywhere where I could find room, to be honest. The main reason is obviously this is the last section now to come down in the middle, and I thought I'd just show you this before I take this up, because that is the fiddle yard, which you probably didn't see in its full glory, if you like. So I thought I'd show you this before I took all this track up, and as you can see I've got miles of it to take up, loads of points, So that will take me probably a good hour to take that up carefully, and I should obviously reuse all this track. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's not been ballasted, it's only pinned down in a few places. Quite a few points there I could use, not electro frogs, but I might be able to find a use for them. So really that gives you quite an overall view of the fiddle yard. Now that section up there was primarily for my longer trains, like Midland Pullman, the HSTs. The HSTs also came down these 3 tracks too, and then these ones here were for my diesels, so anything which was just a single locomotive, like a Deltic or a 37 or anything, they were queued up here. Now the problem with this layout here, and I did it wrong, to be honest with you, I had them sort of one behind the other coming down here, but really that's not a good idea, because if you want the third one in, you've got to manoeuvre the other 2 off first and then bring the third one out. What I should have done was to have done it like a parking bay, so that they were sort of at an angle like that, with one point feeding into a track, so coming off like this, so that I could just bring a loco out, run it along the track, and then round the reverse loop. But hey ho, you live and learn. Again, something else I learnt. And if a lot of people have asked whether I should be incorporating this again on the next layout, not in this configuration, but I'm going to see if I can obviously have a fiddle yard underneath somewhere, but obviously not like this. It won't be wide enough to do that lot as it is, but there again I will have 2 sides, a top end and the end where I'm standing now. So you don't know, I don't know. Okay, right, so I'm going to shut up and take this lot off, and then I'll come back when I've taken the track off and this centre island down. Okay, so speak to you later. Bye for now. Hello again everyone. Right, the deed is done. It is now all down. Everything. So that is all the timber I've got left over. There's no MDF there, that's all wood timber. All the MDF has now been thrown away, apart from those boards up there you see, which are from the lower section of the fiddle yard. They're fine, absolutely no problem with those at all. Village, tunnel, so it's all here. There's my massive stock of primarily locos. Looks like happens, doesn't it? My lovely Santa Fe there. So all systems go. So what I need to do now is clear that corner so that I can put the majority of that in that corner, and also in that corner as well. So everything's down, the shelf is down, everything, it's all gone. Well, it's not gone, it's just down. Very, very pleased, very pleased. I've managed to do exactly what I wanted to do, and that was salvage virtually 95% of all what I had. The 5% really being the top surface of the MDF board, which is, in the big scheme of things, not very much. I mean, that takes up quite a bit, just the village itself. But all the scenics I've saved, even loose foliage which I've picked up I've saved, so that I can add it. In fact, there's the bottles of it there I've saved. Not those ones there, but these here. Yeah, so all good. Obviously I've got to clear my shelves. So, as regards the layout, as you know, or hopefully you know, it's going to be a roundy type layout. So it'll be fixed against the walls all the way round. I'll come to that section in a minute. It'll continue along this wall here, right the way round and back to where we started. It's only 17 foot from that wall to the staircase, so it's not going to be, you know, one of these 34 feet length loft layouts you see. Still quite small, so I've got to manage with what I've got. It's going to be fixed against the wall in modules, but it won't be fixed against that banister. I don't really want to fix anything against that banister, so they're going to be freestanding modules, and the access, which will be here, will go across in a triangle or a curve to join this section here, and just here will either be a total lift out section, or a section I can swing open, or a section I can lift up, and I'll decide that later nearer the time. But that will be my access point, so I don't have to crawl underneath it. The only crawling I'm going to have to do will be very occasionally when I want to go through to there, but that's not going to be very often, so I don't mind that being fixed there. As regards the baseboards, I'll come around this side as it's clearer. So what I've decided, one of the things I need to do is consider later years and years in the future too, whereby I want to just sit down and play trains, and that's the operative word, sit down. Now, there's no point in sitting down if you can't see the blooming thing. So it's only going to be 3 foot high maximum from the floor to the top, and then of course above that I will have the US layout, but that's going to be, I don't know, 1 foot, 1'6" perhaps high above the UK track. So what I'll be able to do, I'm hoping that with this room here, I want to put, if I can, a bench just in here, a workbench, so that I can come up here and do my work on the bench and not have to use the kitchen table. So I should probably buy a second-hand old desk or something and convert that into my workbench. Get a little second-hand office chair so I can sit at that, and also have a brew and sit down and just watch the trains go by. And the other thing, of course, is that the plan is that when I build this and start doing the scenics or whatever, I can sit down in my chair and it's not going to be too deep that I won't be able to get to it, either standing up or sitting down. So anything near the front, in theory, I should be able to sit down and just do the scenics, lay track, whatever. So dimensions I will work out at a later date, height, width, etc. But I expect it to be about 3 foot off the ground ish, and about 3 foot deep, 3'6" deep. That will allow me enough room to get to the back without stretching, because that's been the main problem with Lakeside, is crawling and stretching. So that's it really. So hopefully I need to have a massive clear up now, store a whole load of stuff, get a lot of this out of this room, or in that corner anyway, and then do the lighting, do the electrics, do the heating, aircon, and then I can start building the baseboards. And a lot of people have been asking, will I be having the internal helix, or external helix should I say, and the fill the yard? I don't know yet, to be honest. It's going to be a case of suck it and see on that. But I should know more when I start doing the basic baseboards. Okay people, right, I think that's about it. Thank you very much for having the patience to bear with me while I strip this down. Don't be sad, it's going to get better. It was a great layout, I loved it to bits, but it had its issues and I want to resolve those now. Okay, so that's it. So bye for now, and thank you for watching. So bye.